Thanks. So once again, I'm Jim Frederick. I'm with the Product Management Group for Enterprise Hybrid Cloud with Dell EMC, and I'm very happy to be presenting today with my colleague, Karol.
Karol Boguniewicz. Hello, everyone. I'm a Senior Principal Engineer, Puppet enthusiast, and Enterprise Hybrid Cloud subject matter expert, and I will help today Jim with the demo during our presentation, as well maybe to answer some of the technical questions. So thank you for having me here.
Thanks, Karol. So let's go ahead and get started. So when we talk about going to the hybrid cloud or going to the cloud, people are on a journey. We call it the journey to the cloud. If you saw the video we were showing earlier, our marketing group put together a great video of a gentleman on a boat. He's the SS digital transformation, and at the end he gets to have a cocktail and put his sunglasses on. If we could only all do that after we get through this journey, that would be great. But when we talk about transferring to a new digital world, the reason we're doing this is that, based on a study that Dell did about a year ago, we interviewed 4,000 executives, in 12 countries, and came out with some pretty shocking findings that, if you look at businesses, 45% of those senior leaders in businesses are fearing becoming obsolete in the next 3 to 5 years. Now, if you're running a business and you're responsible for a business, if you think there's a looming threat on the horizon, something that's a 50% chance of happening, of becoming obsolete, that's a big deal. 3/4 of them consider digital startups a threat. So they're looking at traditional businesses and they're having a hard time competing with digital startups. Half of them have experienced a disruption already, significant disruption in their businesses. And this is everybody in things like retail and clothing, right down to verticals like energy and the like. So what's happening is these senior executives are looking at digitization as critical to their success. So they need to put together a digital rescue plan. They need to get on the journey to the cloud. And we're finding that folks who are on this cloud, the sooner they get on it, it seems to really make sense, right? The sooner you get on the journey to the cloud, the sooner you can start realizing the benefits of being in cloud. So if we look at the business investment cycles, and again, this is across all industries, all verticals. If we look at where we are right now, right in the middle of this graph, from 2000 up until 2015 or 17 here, we've been doing traditional applications. And then, right now we've got to be able to take some of the spend we're doing in traditional applications and be able to shift some of that spend into an invest mode in order to get us into these cloud native applications. So what you've got to do is you've got to take the traditional applications you already have, you've got to optimize those, and by optimizing them, it'll allow you to free up some of the resources. And by resources, I mean everything from capital to people to hardware or hardware refresh, where you're able to invest in cloud native or shifting our platform into cloud. And I really want to make sure that I emphasize that this is a journey not only about applications and hardware, but it's also about people. When we talk about cloud, a lot of times the people transformation kind of gets lost. If you're in a traditional DevOps organization, you really need to be thinking about how your staffing will also, the roles are going to change. You're not likely to have someone physically cabling a network switch anymore. You're likely to have someone who is a DevOps or a cloud engineer who will be doing, configuration of a software-defined network. So when we talk about what's going on right now, 71% of IT budgets are for existing apps. This is what I call keeping the lights on. If you're spending almost 3/4 of your budget keeping the lights on, that leaves very little for innovation. But the Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud will allow you to recover some of that and be able to transform your budget. So how do we do that? So the Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud allows you a turnkey experience to go from no cloud right into by purchasing a Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud. You're able to go from, as the title of the talk was, zero to cloud. The hybrid cloud from Dell EMC is designed, integrated, tested, and sustained all as one platform. So when our engineers are developing code, it's all tested, it's all engineered together, it's all sustained as one, and it's supported as one. We have a single call support. So if you have an issue with your Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud, even though it's underpinned by componentry from VMware and hardware from Dell EMC, you have a single support call number. We have integrated services to allow you to plan and operationalize your journey to the cloud. And then obviously the hybrid cloud platform allows you to get that IT agility and efficiency. We'll talk some more about that as we go along here. So what are some of the benefits of having the Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud? So we get faster IT as a service delivery versus build your own. And our study has shown that it's 2 times faster. And it isn't even really our study. It's our customers telling us, hey, we tried to do this already. We failed. We weren't as successful as we needed to be. And they were early adopters of Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud. And they told us that it's 2 times faster to do it with your turnkey platform as a buy outcome rather than as a build outcome. And then we have 67% total savings over build your own for your 3-year TCO. And then we have 42% savings for upgrades over build your own. And then obviously the faster time to upgrade, because if it's all engineered and sustained as one platform, you can rely on us for guidance, and in some cases our automation tools to allow you to do your upgrades. And that'll allow you to do quicker planning for your upgrades, shorter downtimes, and by using our automation tools, the upgrade will go much quicker and be a smooth transition from one platform version to the next. So how do we build all of this? With the underpinnings here are the Dell EMC offerings in hyperconverged and converged infrastructure. So we have the VxRail appliances, we have VxRack Flex and VxRack SDDC, and we also have VxBlock. So building on top of that, you put those together with your software-defined data center, and you layer on top of that the best-in-class cloud management software from VMware. So we have vRealize Operations, vRealize Automation, and we have vRealize Business for Cloud. And the Business for Cloud allows you to look at some of the financial transparency around what does it really cost to have your cloud. If you're offering it as an IT as a service in-house, there's still costs associated with that. So a lot of folks who are spinning up VMs for a dev environment or trying to deploy a 3-tiered application, they may not understand how many resources they're actually consuming and what the internal costs of those resources are. But by using some of the reporting that's available in vRealize Business Cloud, and that reporting surfaces right inside our portal, you're able to have an intelligent conversation with those line of business managers about what is the cost, what is the operational cost, what is the monthly cost of the resources they've consumed and may have spun up, but maybe they're not even using. So you can go in and look at VMs that are powered on for 30 days but haven't been used, or VMs that are just being underutilized. So you're able to have a conversation with those folks and show them the dollar value. You may not be cross-charging it per cost center, but you'll be able to show the dollar value of what it is the infrastructure is taking up, so that you can have some conversations about spinning some things down or regaining some capacity for other projects or other departments by using the tools that are available in vRealize Business for Cloud. And then, of course, all of this comes together as self-service and rapid IT in the self-service portal that is vRealize Automation. On top of the foundation of Enterprise Hybrid Cloud, we have flexible modular add-ons. These are components that can be added onto your solution as a professional services engagement for things like disaster recovery or backup. We use CloudLink for our encryption services, and also continuous availability. The important part about these modular add-ons is that although they are optional, they're maintained by Dell EMC. They're supported as part of the platform. So all that engineering I talked about earlier, all the testing, all of the configuration, all of that is all done holistically as an entire platform. And then new capabilities are delivered in each release. So the products that underpin each of these offerings are offered by Dell EMC. So by assembling the products together in our solution, we're able to take advantage of the new capabilities delivered in each of those releases within our platform. So extending beyond the hybrid cloud platform, we have 2 other categories. So I just talked about the modular add-ons, which are engineered and part of the offering from Dell EMC. On top of that, we offer integrations with third-party vendors. Obviously, Puppet is the one we're here to talk about today, but we do others in the integrations. And these are customized extensions that are implemented in the field often by a professional services engagement. For example, if you used Infoblox for IP management, you would have a professional services engagement to tie that together with your environment. With Puppet now, with VRA 7.3, Puppet is now native in the tool. So a lot of the capabilities that you can do with Puppet are available right within the design canvas and right within the framework of Enterprise Hybrid Cloud. On the right-hand side of the screen, we talk about the coexisting solutions, and these are some pieces that tie together some of the other offerings in the Dell Technologies family, namely the Pivotal Cloud Foundry. So we have those tools would share infrastructure with Enterprise Hybrid Cloud, but they aren't sustained, they aren't managed, they aren't supported by the Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud group. They're coexisting solutions that could consume resources from your Enterprise Hybrid Cloud stack, but are treated independently. So this self-service portal, this is the bigger picture of the portal I showed at the top of the last slide there. This is the new face of IT. What we want to be able to do is provide a self-service catalog, an expandable service catalog that allows the folks in your organization the ability to self-serve, to go in and deploy their own test instances, their own dev instances. Maybe they want to be able to deploy even multi-cloud applications. But the application provisioning is available here from the services. We have self-service data protection here. And again, that financial transparency can all be seen by part of the service catalog, by part of the tools here in the vRealize suite. So Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud accelerates traditional application deployment from that self-service portal using the application blueprints, using the automated virtualized infrastructure management. You get to be able to do things like deploy a simple application or deploy a complex multi-tier application in minutes. So you can deploy a web front end, some piece of middleware, maybe a database backend in order to do your application. You can deploy those multi-tier apps in minutes, and it's standardized. By using an application blueprint, you get the same instance, you get the same configuration each and every time you do that. So by deploying those multi-tier apps, using the application blueprints within the Dell EMC Enterprise Hybrid Cloud, you get to minimize your costs and your risks associated with deploying these seemingly complex applications very easily. But then that all ties back into being able to show, using the financial transparency in vRealize Business Cloud, being able to show what those costs are, what the infrastructure costs are, maybe not necessarily the dollar costs, although that's the easiest way to have the conversation, is to show someone what's the dollar cost of your deployment. But by minimizing, or by being able to show those costs, you can minimize the overuse or the underuse of the infrastructure stack. So you won't have people just in your DevOps groups just spinning up things just to have them up and running. You can show them that you haven't used this in 30 days. Why don't we shut this down? So Dell EMC is #1 in private cloud. So we've had over 4 years of market success with this product offering, across multiple industries, whether it's gas and electric, with PG&E here locally, or with other companies worldwide. We have great success with this product, and again, #1 in private cloud. Our mission in this latest version was to simplify the complex. So Enterprise Hybrid Cloud is now in version 4.1.2 of our offering, and we have enhanced the Puppet integration with the native offering within VRA 7.3. We've extended our automation capabilities. So with the VxRail platform, we have an automated installer, and we have leveraged that automated installer for automated upgrades as well. So we've extended our automation capabilities in order to help with the lifecycle management of the cloud platform. And that's one of the biggest pain points for folks that have deployed cloud at all, either on their own or even with us, is that when you have your time to upgrade your application, it's often months to do the planning, Then you're trying to find, if you were in the general session this morning talking about ridiculously short maintenance windows or ridiculously short opportunities in order to make these really important changes to your environment. With our automation, you're able to do better planning. The planning won't take quite as long, and then the execution of that is fairly guaranteed that it's going to work, where we have the ability to do rollback. So our automation capabilities for install and for upgrade allow during that automated install, that'll roll forward through as many of the steps. It'll do a verification of the current environment, make sure you're at a current rev, a known state, and then we'll be able to take some snapshots as we go along. So if you're executing the upgrade scripts and something goes wrong, a password doesn't work, for example, or you have a momentary network downtime, instead of starting over at the very beginning again and perhaps blowing your maintenance window, you're able to, within our automation tool, within our upgrade automation tool, you're able to roll back and allow you to restart from, again, a known point and not all the way back at the beginning. Roll back to a known point, and then you're able to continue on. For example, if it was just simply a momentary network outage, you'll be able to continue on with your integration and your upgrade. So we've also offered the last point there, the full platform software update. So we've updated our enterprise hybrid cloud with the latest releases from obviously VMware with VRA 7.3 and VRO, VRB, and we've also incorporated things like the Viper stack, Viper 3.6 and the Avamar tools, the data domain tools within our own offerings. So the software updates there, all get rolled forward. So those are all engineered and sustained within Dell EMC. We pick those up through our own program, and they're part of our offering. So the core software updates from Dell EMC and VMware, the vRealize Suite update to 7.3. This was really important in order to get the native integration and opportunity with Puppet Enterprise that Carol will be able to show us in just a few minutes here. The core Dell EMC and VMware software updates, so things like NSX, vSphere going to 6.5, Dell EMC CloudLink at 6.0 going to 6.5, Viper 3.6 and the other pieces there, Avamar and data domain, allow us to pick up those core Dell EMC items and wrap them into our offering. The extended simplification. So this was our mantra for this entire calendar year, was simplify, simplify, simplify. And I've talked a bit about the accelerated installation and the upgrades, and currently these are offered on our VxRail-based infrastructure. So all of this wraps together to provide greater flexibility and accelerated time to value. When you can deploy your cloud in a matter of hours, let's just say realistically it's a day, maybe 3 days, versus a deployment that would have taken perhaps we used to talk about a good deployment was 28 days. Now we think a good deployment or a good upgrade really should be counted in a matter of hours. You should be able to take the VxRail hardware, have that unboxed, have that powered up, have that ready at its opening, and then be able to layer on by having done your homework and gathering all the inputs necessary for the automation tool for the install, you should then be able to run that install, and it's a matter of hours. I think some of our internal benchmarking showed that was on the order of under 10 hours, and I saw one that happened in about 8. So by using the automation that we provide on the VxRail platform, we're extending that simplification and accelerating the time to value in that area. So from here, I'll pass over to Carol. He'll talk a little bit about the Puppet Enterprise integration, and we'll go with the demo as well.
So I think most of you are very familiar with how Puppet works and what it does. But I think for the completeness of our presentation, it's worth to reiterate maybe on some of the benefits and key features offered by Puppet as a part of the Enterprise Hybrid Cloud. So by combining EHC together with Puppet Enterprise, you benefit not only because you can very quickly stand up your cloud, but also you can extend your automation and configuration management capabilities. So you can very quickly define the desired state of the infrastructure, cloud environment, workloads, applications, using the prescriptive Puppet's declarative language. And it will be common across different operating systems, across different, maybe even cloud environments. So you can use the same language to automate configuration of your private cloud, hybrid cloud, and also public clouds. You can leverage thousands of pre-configured Puppet Forge modules which are available there. There's more than 5,000, and you can very quickly create new services within your private or hybrid cloud environment. So that's one thing. What's also very important is that you can simulate configuration changes before actually enforcing them in your production environment. And in this case, you can actually eliminate some errors before they occur, and also you can better understand what is the impact of the changes that you would like to implement. You can very easily enforce the desired state automatically. It happens with the every Puppet agent run on the nodes which are managed with Puppet Enterprise, and in this way you can very quickly correct any configuration drift. And finally, you can very easily report on the differences between the actual current configuration state of your cloud environment and the desired configuration, and also about any changes which were made to enforce the desired state. In this way, you can very easily check the compliance of your environment as well. So with that, you can not only streamline provisioning of the new services within the private or hybrid cloud, but you can also streamline the configuration management over time. And what we can see right now is the typical workflow for deploying application within the enterprise. In typical virtualized environment or maybe a cloud pure IaaS environment. So it's usually very easily to create a new VM and apply new network configuration. But then what happens is that you need to spend at least a couple of hours or days in order to configure the application. And that may require several handoffs between different teams within the IT organization. And then you can move it to production. But provisioning is one-time task. What about drift management over time? Something that is repeatable, something that is usually done manually and ad hoc. So if you combine Enterprise Hybrid Cloud with Puppet Enterprise, it's getting much simpler and quicker, because when you provision a new VM, a new workload, the application itself and the configuration is applied automatically with Puppet Enterprise within minutes. And it doesn't require handoffs between different teams. So you can very quickly deploy a new application in production. And then the drift management is also handled automatically with Puppet Enterprise. And it's a continuous process with every Puppet agent run. So what used to take hours, maybe days, can be now fully automated and done within minutes. So to get a better understanding of that, let's take a look at the quick demo. So you can just get a better feel how it would work in practice. So let me play the demo. So in this quick demonstration, we'll have a look at the end-user experience and some of the features offered by the Enterprise Hybrid Cloud Platform extended with Puppet Enterprise. The platform enables IT as a service through the automated self-service portal. Let's imagine that I'm the cloud admin managing this private cloud environment. And right now, I'm logged into the self-service portal, and immediately I see a sample service catalog with several services that simplify management of this cloud platform, as well as providing additional data protection and disaster recovery services. Let's imagine that I received a task from my manager to create a new service offering for our development department. That would be a simple Linux Apache web server that can be used for deploying maybe and developing new applications. So I have service architect roles. So what I can do is that I can go to the design tab, and then I can provide some basic information and create a new service blueprint for that. So at the minimum, I need to provide a new name for this service blueprint. Let's name it Linux Web Server via Puppet Enterprise. And then I'm taken into the unified design canvas. We can combine different infrastructure elements, software elements, together in order to create a new service in a visual, very simple to use way. So I'm going to use the blueprint which I configured before for a simple IS server. It was a CentOS 6 basic server. And now to configure the web service inside the Apache, I can just drag and drop the Puppet node component from the configuration management category, which is shown here. And in this way, it will be automatically integrated with the Puppet enterprise environment. So I need to provide some additional configuration here, which you can see. So I need to choose the master. And most importantly, I need to select a role for this server, which is shown here. And a couple of more configuration information just to ensure that the Puppet plugin can integrate that automatically. How the service is configured, you can see a sample source code here right now. I'm leveraging roles and profiles, which allow me to define a policy to configure this web service. And I'm actually using the standard Puppet Forge Apache module in order to configure the Apache web server. If I would like to set up a different service, like a SQL server, for instance, there's also another module available here. And I can very quickly take this module and create a new service out of that as well. So I've pre-created this service in advance. So what I can do right now is I can show you how it will look from the developer perspective. I'm right now in a different browser window. I'm logged as a developer, user dev1. And as a developer, I see a different set of services in the self-service catalog. These are services which are meaningful for me and required for my job. And I can see also this newly created web server. So I'm going to provision a new instance of that. I will just enter default settings here just to make it simple. And right now, I can go to the request tab and actually track the execution and fulfillment of my request. If it's required, I can configure some approval policies. So someone would have to approve this request first to be fulfilled. But in this case, to keep the demo simple, we're just doing everything automatically, and we don't need approval here. So in a few minutes, it is automatically provisioned. Now I can go to the Items tab, and I can very quickly see the new instance of this service. I can do some basic management on my own here, but I can also check the configuration of the service. So this is the sample website, which was configured as a part of this Linux web server role. It's working fine, so everything is good. I can also double check that it's really managed by Puppet Enterprise. So I'm going to the Puppet Enterprise Management Console, and I can see this new node here listed as well. So what's really great about this integration is that it is so simple because you don't need to take care about installing the Puppet agent within the VM template. It's handled automatically by the Puppet orchestrator plugin. And then just by applying the role of the server, and you could see how easily it is to create a new service blueprint using the unified design canvas, drag and drop elements, configure this new service. But what is also unique of using Puppet in such a cloud environment is that I can eliminate configuration drift over time, which will be quite difficult with VRA as a self-service portal here itself. So the sample website, which was configured, was part of the desired configuration. So what I can do is that I can log into the server itself. I can remove the index file here. And in this way, I will modify the desired configuration. And you can see that the configuration right now is broken. So right now, during the next Puppet run, it will be automatically fixed. However, I can also do this from the same management interface here. And I could also see the actual report about the changes applied. So in this case, I can see that the missing index file was restored and the service was fixed. So to summarize this demo, by leveraging Puppet Enterprise as a part of Enterprise Hybrid Cloud, I can not only simplify creation of new services by leveraging thousands of available Puppet Forge modules, but I can also simplify configuration management over time and elimination of the configuration drift. So I think there was a question, so I'm happy to take this question.
Yeah, I just want to ask, like, where did you assign the role? You're not manually assigning the role, right?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
So for that VM, I
Yes.
think I misread. So where did you assign the role? So that web server role, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's part of you. Did you assign this part of ESC or through Puppet?
So this web server role was taken as one of the examples for configuring roles and applying the different modules available at Forge. So when you will integrate the solution like this, that was the sample source code available out there at GitHub. But it's really up to you what kind of services you can configure within this cloud environment. We can create different services with professional services, and if you have the right skills inside the organization, you can also configure those multiple services on your own. Another question?
Yeah, so great, I see you doing VxRail and vBlock. How are you extending those capabilities into AWS and Azure and controlling things like load balancers, firewalls, application services? Is the application build similar, and how is you integrating Puppet with those services?
So I'll be honest with you. So far, we have tested this integration with the private cloud part of EHC in the vSphere environment. My expectation is that you would have to slightly probably modify the workflows which are included in the Puppet VRO plugin in order to make similar capability within Microsoft Azure. But you can configure that in a similar way, but it may require some additional professional services engagement just to test that everything works.
Is it possible to integrate this also with like some type of a storage and SAN management, so that, for example, zoning on a SAN or storage allocation on a vPlex or a vMax can be done?
So it can be possible, but actually we are providing similar capability out of the box by leveraging Viper Controller, which is part of Enterprise Hybrid Cloud, leveraging not VxRail, but different environments like VxBlock, for instance, converged infrastructure. And Viper Controller is the component that actually allows to get a single control point for your storage environment. And it already has some workflows which can be exposed directly to the self-service portal to achieve similar functionality. But also with the professional services engagement, it will be possible to provide similar automation to other components in the environment as well.
I see the integration with Puppet Enterprise. I assume the same code base can be utilized to integrate with community Puppet as well.
You mean the open source
Yes,
version
sir.
of the Puppet?
Yeah.
So from what I've read, but I haven't checked that, the Puppet plugin right now works only with Puppet Enterprise. In order to make that work with the open source version, I guess that would require some additional work, maybe to modify some of the workflows. And you will not get, of course, the enterprise support as a part of that for the open source.
A follow-up question would be, such integration with licensing directly from Dell, or that licensing will be separate to per server license will come from Puppet separately?
So this integration is actually developed by Puppet with a special VRA, VRO plugin. So it's licensed by Puppet. It's offered as a part of Puppet Enterprise. In order to get license for that, I guess you need a license for Puppet Enterprise, or you need to develop it on your own.
So
I'll answer that question. So Dell can sell directly to you if you're already a Dell EMC customer to buy PE, or you can hold a license and put the license file with Dell EMC.
I guess part of the reason I'm asking is because we just purchased VRA and we just passed POC.
Right.
But I guess the VMware team, for the most part, has been focused on integration with Windows.
Okay.
And the Linux team actually has much larger footprint, and also we already have integration pipeline already. Hence, the integration, basically we already have public recipe, recycling repo, and rows, profiles, everything's already there. So the integration is a much bigger problem, challenge for us to benefit from VRA.
Okay. And you are leveraging VRA and open source version of Puppet right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, so I cannot tell if the same plugin will work fine with the open source version. I haven't tested that. But definitely you get more benefits by leveraging the enterprise version, because such integrations with the enterprise tools like vSphere and others are coming with the enterprise version of the Puppet. So in this case, with open source, I guess that would require developing similar integration workflows. But of course, it's possible. It just requires much more work. Doesn't work out of the box.
All right, thanks. So VRA so far, I guess, have tighter integration with VM provisioning, etc. And the workflow blueprint, etc. can logically extend to provision physical server as well to provide more consistent experience from user perspective in terms of service catalog. Can you comment on the capability to do that for physical servers?
So in the older version of Realize Automation, I mean version lower than 7, there was a functionality to also automate provisioning on physical bare metal servers. Right now it's not there. So that would be custom functionality that needs to be developed. It's possible, but this is just additional work, and it's not something available out of the box.
Any other questions? Well, I want to thank Jim and Carol.
So we didn't finish yet.
Oh,
we
yeah.
want to recap because.
You started the Q&A.
Well, there was a question, so I just wanted to ensure that we are covering that.
Sure. So I wanted to just wrap up with a couple of slides here. To summarize, extending the automation for your hybrid cloud. Obviously using enterprise hybrid cloud for your hybrid cloud platform allows you to accelerate your journey to the hybrid cloud using a self-service framework, for your IT services and for your internal governance. Then, by using Puppet, you can simplify the deployment of the applications. You can maximize your compliance with existing blueprints, and you can reduce your configuration drift by, as Carol showed, the ability every time a Puppet would run, it would bring your config back into compliance. So really, the strengths here are combining enterprise hybrid cloud for your cloud journey and Puppet as your partner for deployment and configuration, reducing your configuration drift. The strengths of these two together just make a really great mix here. So we get agility, we get standardization, you get some flexibility, and you get choice depending on how you go about doing your own deployments. So now it's thank you for your time. Thank you for all of you coming. If there's any questions, we'll be happy to take any now. Carol and I will be here for a few minutes afterwards as well if you're interested to come up and ask a question.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.